Good afternoon and welcome to the monthly OSBP Learning Series. My name is Trefelia Parker and I am a program specialist at the NASA Office of Small Business Programs. In recognition of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, today's topic is Equity in Action, Closing the Disability Divide. We have two guest speakers with us today and we are excited for them to share their presentation and information with you today. Before we get started, I would like to invite Tracy Hudspeth to the stage, to the virtual stage, to share a few housekeeping notes with you, and then we will get to our guest speakers. Ms. Hudspeth?
Thank you, Trefelia. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping tips to keep in mind during today's presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them into the Q&A box. If you are experiencing any technical difficulties, please input your issue in the chat box. Speakers, we ask that you keep your microphones on mute when not speaking. This presentation will be recorded and attendees will receive an email once the materials are made available online. This slide demonstrates what your screen looks like and the location of different functions available to you. The chat function is where you'll input any technical difficulties you're experiencing. The Q&A function is where you'll type your questions and one of our speakers or panelists will respond. The poll function is where you can respond to our poll. We ask that you take a moment to submit your response before the conclusion of the webinar. If you are missing any of the functions, please click the three dots on the bottom of your screen to populate the missing function. WebEx closed captioning is available. To enable closed captioning, please do so by clicking the CC on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Then click the three dots on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen to turn on the caption panel. Closed captioning will appear in this panel for the duration of today's webinar. As mentioned, we have a poll feature. Today's questions are, how did you learn about this function? Is this the first webinar hosted by the NASA Office of Small Business Programs that you have attended? Which of the following classifications applies to your institution, organization, or company? Have you done business with NASA? And what are some of the barriers to entry when doing business with NASA? Poll will be available for the duration of today's presentation, and we thank you in advance for your response. That's it for our housekeeping tips. I'll turn the floor back over to our host, Ms. Trefelia Parker. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. We can go to the next slide. And we'll share a little bit about our organization. Again, we are the NASA Office of Small Business Programs, and our mission is on the screen. And our overall goal is to increase the number of small businesses in the prime and subcontractor pool at the agency. And so that's one of the reasons why we are here today, and we offer this monthly educational resource to the small business community, as well as our quarterly outreach events to you. So we can go to the next slide, please. And again, we are we are part of NASA headquarters, which is located in the southwest part of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. We're under the leadership of our Associate Administrator, Mr. Glenn Delgado, and our Deputy Associate Administrator, Mr. Robert Medina. And again, our key takeaway for today is a part of our outreach and our advocacy and education to the small business community. Next slide, please. Now I'm pleased to introduce our two guest speakers to you today. I'm not going to read their full bios. As Tracy mentioned, you will receive a copy of today's slides as well as a link to the video recording of today's presentation. But our first speaker is going to be Mr. Matthew Buchanan. He is the ABOR Business Development Manager with the National Industries for the Blind, NIB. And I believe he is actually going to tag team with our second speaker. If we can go to the next slide, please. And that is Mr. Lawrence Atkins, and he is the Director for Business Development with Source America. And overall, they are going to be talking about the Ability One program and some of the other resources and tools and information available to the small business community. So with that, I would like to turn the rest of our time together over to Matthew and to Lawrence for their presentation. And along the way, if you have any questions, We will capture those in the Q&A box on the side or the chat. And we'll take kind of a pulse check throughout today's presentation. If you have any questions, we'll address those, as well as time allows, we'll have some time at the end of the program to answer any additional questions that you may have. So Matt and Lawrence, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matt Buchanan. I'm here with Lawrence Atkins from Source America, and it's a great honor to be with you this afternoon, or depending where you're at in the country this morning. And if you go to the next slide, we're here to talk about the Ability One program and how the Ability One program can work with NASA and with your companies and small businesses to create mission success. So here's a little bit about the agenda we're going to talk about today, give you a little bit of the Ability One overview and why you should support the Ability One program, some of the benefits of subcontracting with our nonprofit agencies, some of the offerings and capabilities of the program, how to connect with us, and then certainly some questions and answers. So Lawrence and I are more than happy to be interrupted as we're talking. So please put any questions in the chat. Tracy, just to let you know, I unfortunately can't, looks like I can't view the Q&A. I can view the chat, but not the Q&A portion. So if you could interrupt us if anything comes in the Q&A portion, that would be great. Next, please. So the Ability One program mission. So our mission is to tap America's underutilized workforce of individuals who are blind or have significant disabilities to deliver high quality, mission essential products and services to federal agencies in quality employment opportunities. And our vision is to remain a trusted source of supply and services for federal agencies while creating quality employment opportunities across all economic sectors for people who are blind or who have significant disabilities. Next slide, please. And so here's the overall organizational chart of the Ability One program. It starts at the top with the President of the United States. Underneath is the U.S. Ability One Commission. It's one of the smallest federal executive branch agencies under the executive branch. It's made up of 15 presidentially appointed members, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. But underneath the 15 presidentially appointed members is a small commission staff that supports the appointees. There is a chairperson and an inspector general who both report to Congress. So underneath the overall umbrella of the U.S. Ability One Commission and the U.S. Ability One program are the two central nonprofit agencies, or CNAs, and you could think of us as sister organizations. So National Industries for the Blind, or NIB, and who I work for, and Source America, who Lawrence works for. So we are, again, sister agencies underneath the Ability One program. Underneath us are the nonprofit agencies, or you'll hear us refer to them as NPAs. National Industries for the Blind, or NIB, has roughly 100 nonprofit agencies all across the country who work to employ people who are blind. And Source America has roughly 350 nonprofit agencies all across the country employing people who have significant disabilities. And underneath are our federal customers. Without the federal customers and federal contracts, we wouldn't be able to do all the great things that we do in the Ability One program. We wouldn't be able to provide all the services that we provide to folks who are blind or have significant disabilities without the federal customers. So without your help and support, we wouldn't have this program. Next slide, please. So here, as I had mentioned, there are 15 presidentially appointed U.S. Ability One Commission members. The chairperson is Mr. Kosis from GSA. And as you can see, there are 4 individuals who are private citizens, and the rest are from other federal agencies. There's DLA and the Army and the Air Force. So all different agencies are represented on the commission. And this is the first time in many, many years that the commission has been fully staffed. So all 15 openings are filled, and it has a completely staffed commission. So that's a great thing for the overall program. Next, please. So the Office of Federal Procurement Policy, or OFPP, just about 3 years ago now, I can't believe it's been 3 years. So at the end of this month, it'll be 3 years, sent out a memo requesting all of the 24 CFO Act agencies to increase their Ability One spend. And as was mentioned before, I am the ABOR, or Ability One representative, project lead for NIB, and Lawrence on the Source America side as well. And so we work together in order to increase training and increase knowledge in the program, which would then hopefully increase contracts to the program. So we're making people aware of the program and that it's out here. And as I believe Lawrence will mention a little bit later, all the extensive capabilities of the program. It is not your grandparents' Ability One program anymore. We're not just pens and paper and cutting the grass and shoveling snow. We have ever expanding capabilities. So something to look out for is increasing spend to the program directly from the Office of Federal Procurement Policy. Next slide, please. So Executive Order 13985, advancing racial equity and support of underserved communities through the federal government. People with disabilities is one of these underserved communities represented in the executive order. So just another check mark next to when you do business with the Ability One program, you're helping fulfill this executive order. Next slide, please. So NASA is a great supporter of the Ability One program. There's two memos here that we can just call out and make you aware. And again, as these slides will be made available to you. The one on the left talks about ending the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And NASA has been a great supporter of the program and being able to release memos like these to the workforce to be able to increase spend to the program. So each of these, again, 24 CFO Act agencies have created an Ability One goal, and every dollar that is spent to the Ability One program helps NASA and helps the federal government reach that goal that they've set. So it's all great work, and a big thanks to NASA and the NASA team. Next slide, please. So why partner with Ability One nonprofit agencies? So we'll just talk a little bit about just going around this circle here. A partnership that pays dividends, significant dividends. So it supports your corporate social responsibility goals. We are a great supporter of returning warfighters and veterans. Let's see here. It supports Executive Order 13985, which you just mentioned. We have over 800 NAICS codes and PSC codes that we are currently providing products and services towards, and that's ever growing. We have extensive past performance. We've NIB just turned 85 years, and blanking on what Source America, the time for Source America, but we've been around for decades. So we've had decades-long relationships with different federal agencies. So we've been around for a while. So again, it just talks to our extensive past performance. We have seasoned contractors who've worked on both sides, on the federal side, on the commercial side. We enhance corporate cultures and diversity workforce. So just some of the great the dividends that pay off while working with the Ability One program. Next slide, please. And with that, let me just pause just for 1 second, Lawrence, just to see, Tracy, if there's anything in the chat or the question. Looks like we have something in the chat. Just looks like contact info. But if there's any Q&As, Tracy, that would be great. If not, we can send it to Lawrence.
All right. We don't have anything yet. We look like we have a quiet bunch here. So go ahead and put those questions in, guys.
All right. Over to you, Lawrence. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt, and again, thanks for having us, Tracy, True, and Mr. Delgado. This is a huge opportunity for us to share more about our program. And Source America and NIB, we don't take these opportunities lightly. And again, thanks, Matt, for passing it to me. I get to kind of share the fun part or the meat of the presentation, since Matt's kind of covered the structure and the serious oversight that this program has. So let's jump right into it. Next slide, please. Here we want to start with just some of our capabilities. And I have some slides that'll follow this one that'll get more into it. But this is kind of at a high level, some of our service capabilities. We really want to highlight the supply chain management and warehouse services, product packaging and kitting, and total facilities management, because that's probably where, or just one of the areas where we can better partner with small business. Again, and again, this just kind of shows some of the capabilities that we have at a high level. Next slide, please. This slide, we want to talk about some of our industrial products that we offer, and just a few examples that you can see here. Again, like Matt said, this is not, the Ability One program of days that have gone by. I've been with the organization for 7 years now. I actually left the Coca-Cola company here in Atlanta, where I live, after managing office services for North America in different roles for about 11 years. And my friends and family, or even colleagues or agencies, will ask, Lawrence, how could you leave in an organization like the Coca-Cola company at the corporate headquarters? And I have to admit, everyone on this call, this has been one of the best career decisions that I've ever made, because I've literally went from selling Coke to giving hope to people who just don't have a chance. The chance that you and I have every day to contribute not only to our families, but to our local communities. So again, here are some of the product offerings that we have. You can see the Jan Sand products, from disinfectants to chemical additives, abrasives, and blasters. And then going over to some of the general industrial supplies. Again, the depth and breadth of this program has evolved and continues to change. Looking at hoses, valves, fitting, nozzles, and couplings, and hardware manufacturing. Again, these are areas where we really know and want to partner more and differently with small business moving forward. Next slide, please. Again, capabilities. We have hundreds of NPAs throughout the U.S. and U.S. territories, Puerto Rico and Guam as well. So these manufacturers and these warehouses and distribution centers are wherever your requirement is. Again, we have nonprofits, NIB has nonprofits, and together we bring together a comprehensive solution that's a sustainable solution that our customers are proud of. And again, it's the work that we do. Again, just as a reminder, everything we do is around supporting people that are blind and who have significant disabilities. So again, just being a part of this program is something special. And again, here just shows the stretch of the program throughout the 50 states. Next slide, please, Tracy. Quality with Ability One, a word that's synonymous with Ability One is going to be quality. Quality is always going to be top of mind. We're ISO certified, our NPAs, most of those are ISO certified, and the ones that play in this space will have these qualifications that you see here. Specifically, ITAR register and CMMC compliant are major quality systems, along with ISO, that we want to make sure that our nonprofits have in place, again, so that we can work towards exceeding whatever those requirement expectations may be. Next slide, please. Again, equipment capabilities. Show the slide that kind of shows some of the equipment, but again, I just want to point out here, manufactured and machine products, that they're going to meet those strict standards that we just talked about. And it can be from a simple one-piece part to some complex machined assembly that we can support. Again, we talked about the broad network of organizations with a variety of processes. Again, because we're better together, we can leverage each other to grow and evolve. Low volume prototyping to high volume production with surge ramp capability. I'm going to show you a chart in one of the following slides to kind of show you how our nonprofits can handle that surge and ramp up that the government has. And with all the things that are going on now, we expect to see some surges in our uniform manufacturing. So again, just want to kind of highlight some of the capabilities and also point out that our nonprofits are serious that are in this space. They're investing in state-of-the-art equipment to make sure, again, that we can work to exceed whatever that government demand is. Next slide, please. Again, now the next few slides, like I said earlier, are going to show you some real good examples of the good work that our nonprofits are doing and the good work that they're doing for our troops. These straps and netting that you see here are for DLA troop support. And again, just want to re-emphasize the depth and breadth of this program. It's not just cutting grass and doing custodial work. It's a lot more and a lot more depth and breadth to the program now. Next slide, please. This is one of my favorite slides, everyone. And this talks about our cargo net solution provider. The cost avoidance, the process improvement, and handling the surges are huge for our customers. And again, because the nonprofits build the relationship with the customer, and NIB and Source America provides oversight for every single contract, the U.S. Air Force saved over $40 million since 1984 by repairing, refurbishing, and recycling cargo nets. Performance improvement, they developed a new sewing pattern. Again, these things only happen because our government customers are listening to our nonprofits who are bringing great ideas to the table to help programs grow, evolve, and create a more sustainable solution. So here, and again, the last piece of this is that surge capability that I talked about on the previous slide. Whether the demand is high or the demand is low, we'll be able to meet that need for you. Next slide, please. Straps and netting. Now, these specific items relate specifically to aviation support and our warfighters. Again, these materials and products that we're sewing and refurbishing are making a huge difference and having a huge impact in our federal government and for our military, again, and ultimately providing good work for people with disabilities. And I think the next slide I'm going to have Matt cover for us related to the supply chain, and then I'll pick up some more in the end. Matt, want to turn it over to you. Next slide, please.
Great. Thanks, Lawrence. So just want to talk a little bit about supply chain management and an example we have from the U.S. State Department, an Ability One service provider of equipment, supplies, and uniforms. So $200 million, we have a $200 million IDIQ with the State Department. Each requirement is unique. Each customer has its own contract requirement. So we have this overall IDIQ set up for the State Department, and then every entity within the department can go and order off of this IDIQ. It focuses on armor, ballistics, high threat, security, humanitarian equipment supplies, training kits, uniforms. We have management of over just shy of 8,000 active items in a network of 112 manufacturers and suppliers with 94.6% small business. So it covers OCONUS and CONUS, freight logistics and management. So as you can see, it's just a wide range of different products and services. And this is just one very small or one example of supply chain management for the Department of State. Next, please. So here's just some additional information about it. So again, centralized RFQ management. So I just have the quote here, what you want, what you want, when you want it, delivered to where you need it. It's Ability One mandatory source, protects against time-consuming and costly protests. And so the pricing innovations that we have. So the service costs are fixed percentage of the material cost. So none of that. So you don't have to go back and forth on pricing every time a new requirement comes up under this project. Next slide, please. And again, some different additional examples. So what's possible under this contract? We have 5 level 2 fully equipped field hospitals. So they have over 1,200 unique items and 40,000 total items. So they're all put into a shipping container, and they're able to be shipped anywhere in the world. We have anti-terrorism and anti-terrorism assistance and special program for embassy response. We have international narcotics and law enforcement. So for the Ukrainian police uniforms, we have 115 unique items for 17,000 total items, all done OCONUS. 27 emergency shelters that we've helped set up. And then additional defense equipment and armored vehicles for ballistic plates and shields. So just again, a wide range of things that can be done just under this one example. Next slide, please. And I'd like to just provide another quick example for the State Department. One of the great programs we work is call centers, both under Source America and NIB. And so we work together on a call center for the Department of State for passports. So if you've ever had an issue with your passport over the past several decades, and you've called the 1-800 number for the State Department and wanted to talk about your passport, it's come to an Ability One call center. So we've set up, I believe it's in Arizona and Michigan, I believe are the 2 locations, definitely Arizona. And so if you call, you're talking to somebody in the Ability One program, and we've actually worked with the State Department. They're increasing, or they're anticipating increased international travel. So they've asked us to increase staffing at these locations, and it's been hundreds and hundreds of people who have significant disabilities work at these locations, and being able to increase staff as international travel increases. It's a great flexibility of the program.
Hey, Matt, just to chime in real quick on that,
please.
You made me think of something about the passport. We do, like Matt said, we are responsible for the call center. So all the calls come through there. We're not responsible for the processing of the passports, but we do facilitate those calls. And what I really wanted to point out is there are over 1,000 jobs for people in this program tied to that one contract. Just wanted to point that out to the team. Thanks, Matt.
It's a great program. So just wanted to talk a little bit about our kitting programs. You see this kit on the left here, all the way from armored vests to rucksacks and all the different tactical gear that you would need. On the right here, these are evidence collection kits. So as military personnel go out and need to collect evidence for different reasons, all the different things they would need, whether it be protective gloves, protective eyewear, bags, and everything you would need are kitted and sourced and put into these rucksacks. Next, please. So we have metal fabrication and partnering with the Ability One program. We have 3, 4, and 5 access soft metal machining. We have water jet cutting and CNC, brake forming and punch presses, bushing installation. And then, so for some of the customers, we have Northrop Grumman and Boeing, DLA Troop Support, DLA Land and Maritime. And as Lawrence had mentioned earlier, all the certifications that you would normally ask of a commercial company, you would still ask of the Ability One program. We have ISO certifications and ITAR, all the different aerospace certifications that are needed. So again, if you would ask a commercial company what kind of certification that you would need, it doesn't change just because you're going to the Ability One program. We would still have that requirement.
And Matt, real quick,
Um,
just to kind of touch on that for
Yeah.
everybody in the audience. We bring you multiple NPAs, and I'm going to talk about it when we kind of get towards the end of the presentation. But Matt brought up something I want to point out now. Just like your commercial partners, we're the same as one of your commercial partners, with the exception of we're going to provide more oversight, more reporting, and we're going to make sure that we're helping folks in our local community with disabilities. So again, we don't ask to be treated any differently. We're going to exceed your expectations just like a commercial provider would. So again, we're going to come to you in that same way, and we want you to manage us in that same way, again, as we work towards exceeding your expectations. Thanks, Matt.
Sure. And one of the things I'll add, our agency up in Seattle creates or sources products for Boeing. So if you've flown on a Boeing 737 recently, or really within the last few decades, our agency up in Seattle has sourced it's I believe it's 5,000 individual products or individual pieces on a Boeing 737 are run through our shop, through an Ability One shop. So just something the next time you're flying on a Boeing 737, just realize all the great work that it's done for people with disabilities. Next slide, please. So here's some our agency in Oklahoma makes fire hoses. So fire hoses for the fire service, as well as for the Navy. One of the things that they've recently gotten into is fire hose refurbishment. So as firefighters are out with different hoses fighting fires, and certainly they get worn and torn and burnt and things like that. We're able to take them back to our agency in Oklahoma, and they're able to refurbish these fire hoses, whereas in the past they would just be thrown out. So, a big savings for the fire service and the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, of something that we do for fire hoses. We also make wheel chocks for the Air Force out of wood and composite that are used on Air Force bases. Next slide, please. Here's just some additional precision machining parts that we have of metals, and I just point your attention to the part second from the right here. Just look at all the different angles and the different shapes that would be needed to either whether it's cut out or pressed or stamped. Just see how intricate some of these parts are. Next slide, please. And just some more examples. Next slide, please. So we have cutting and bonding and assembling of non-metallics. On the right there's a gasket, and in the middle some clips for wiring harnesses. So just all different types of things that we ask that you please reach out to us. It's something where maybe if we're currently doing it, that's great. It's also could be something that we would like to get into as well. So please reach out. Next slide, please. And just some kitting direct to some assembly lines that we have. As you can see, it's just a very large piece of equipment here that we work and source and kit, and then send them directly to the OEM as needed. Next slide, please. And just some examples of some of the aircraft that we support, all for the Air Force and the Navy. Just a wide range of different aircraft. Next, please. And these are some of the commercial options. As mentioned, our agency up in Seattle does a lot of work with Boeing. One of the things up there, they are right in the flight path of the Seattle Tacoma International Airport. And so as folks are out on a break or just walking home, they're able to hear the airplanes that are flying right over their head going to land at Seattle Tacoma Airport. And they know that their products are on those airplanes, and it provides them with great with great pride that they're able to do that. And this is a great point to offer. And you know, as we had mentioned, there are hundreds of our agencies all across the country. Hopefully, you would be within driving distance of one of our agencies. Please reach out to Lawrence and myself. There's nothing that our folks like more than to having visitors and to be able to have a tour of one of our agencies, again, all across the country. So please reach out. We'd be happy to set something up for you, whether it be in your local area or if you're on travel. We'd be happy to find you the closest agency, or maybe the one that does some work for your agency or anything like that. So please reach out to Lawrence and I. Next, please. And just some of the examples of the commercial partners that we work with. We do a lot of kitting with the Home Depot, with 3M. We work with them on Post-it notes. We were able to have a Skillcraft branded Post-it note. We also work with 3M on non-skid material. So if you're on Navy ships or cruise ships that have non-skid material on their flat surfaces, a lot of that is done from an Ability One manufacturer too. So just some of the examples of some of the commercial partners that we work with in addition to military and DoD. Next, please. With that, I will send it over to Lawrence, and I actually do have access of the Q&A portion, and I don't see anything yet, so we'll send it to Lawrence, but we'll keep monitoring.
All right, thanks, Matt. Now, we've talked about the program structure. We've talked about what our nonprofits do. We've talked about how we support our nonprofits. And we've also shown you some slides on some of the partners and some of the folks that we serve. Now, this is, to me, again, this is the most important part. How do you connect with us so that we can serve you? And it's 6 very simple steps. The first thing we want you to do, the moment you think there might be an opportunity, get with us as soon as possible so that we can strategize on that acquisition and work together on providing the winning solution to the customer. That email should go with the PWS, the prime contractor, at abilityone.gov. The next step, we'll review the PWS, and then we'll reach out to our network of nonprofits and kind of do the evaluation process for you. We'll come back with, as an example, 3 to 5 nonprofits that we feel are suitable and we know have past performance certifications and that can serve you well. What we do at that time is we give that information to you, the contact information to you for those, say, 3 to 5 nonprofits. You, as the prime, you talk to those 5 nonprofits and you determine out of that 5 which one you'd like to work with, which one you think you'll have the better strategic partnership with. Once you make that decision and after it's awarded, that's when the Ability One, again, we'll make sure that we're making sure that the federal customer gets their pledge value and their, as far as meeting their executive orders and whatever they pledge to the program. And then again, one thing that I've talked about earlier, we provide serious oversight. So we're going to continue to work with that prime and that NPA and have a quarterly touch point where we'll, again, make sure that things are going well and make sure that, again, that our customers' needs are being met and exceeded, and we're supporting the prime as agreed upon and as promised. Next slide, please. And the next slide is going to give you more detail on kind of the specifics, right? Again, you want to start out with, and the slides will be, this information will be left behind for you to leverage in the future. But again, you want to start with coming to prime contractor with all the information that you have. And again, once we receive it, we'll go through our motions of evaluating our nonprofit network, and getting the right subcontractor nonprofit to you as the prime. So again, as we wrap up, if you ever need any market research, if you ever have any questions about the Ability One program, Matt and I are absolutely here to serve and to help and support you. And to Mr. Delgado, to Tracy, and to True, specifically Tracy and True, Thank you on behalf of the Ability One program, Source America, and IB for allowing us to be here today. Again, we know that there's thousands of other customers that you could have had on, so having us here today is special. We hope the information that we shared was valuable. We look forward to working with you, and I think, Tracy, at this point, we can open up the floor to any burning questions that any of our colleagues may have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys were amazing, wonderful presentation. So I'm checking the Q&A box now. It doesn't look like we have too many. We were experiencing some technical difficulties with our Q&A box today. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of questions, but we will continue with the webinar, everyone. So if you do think of any questions that you want to ask before we conclude today's webinar, please feel free to input your questions in the Q&A box. Our speakers are not leaving just yet.
Tracy, Tracy, sorry, this is Matt. Do you mind if I ask one quick question? We had a question come in earlier. Do you mind if I ask it real quick?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, great. Lawrence, we had a question earlier about the Source America Mentor Protege program, excuse me. I know it's a new program that Source America is setting up in conjunction with the overall Ability One program. So if you could just kind of give some of the details on how the Mentor Protege program works and yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, absolutely. And again, we talked about how this program has evolved. And one thing that we've learned over the past several years is that we need more nonprofits. We need the nonprofits that we have to be able to do more, to serve more, and to serve better. So what we've created, and we've, in all spirit, in the spirit of transparency, what we've done is in a lot of ways, we've emulated SBA's Mentor Protege program. So we're following some of those same protocols and guidelines, so to speak. And what we're doing is and just like any other industry, right? We have MPAs that are large, that do a lot of commercial. We have MPAs that are medium, that do a little bit of everything. And then we have some smaller MPAs, that they probably do a lot of the niche type work. They may not be or have the depth and breadth of some of the larger nonprofits. But by leveraging this Mentor Protege program, now some of those smaller nonprofits can work with those large nonprofits, get that past performance, get that mentorship, and build up the depth and breadth of that nonprofit. Again, I think we have probably 7 to 10 nonprofits that have already jumped in and started to mentor and protege. So again, that is a great question. And again, it really, everyone on this call, it really shows how this program continues to innovate, continues to evolve, and even us being here today to partner with small businesses. We want to grow with you too. So again, leveraging the Mentor Protege is something that we've kind of stolen to a certain extent or kind of emulated from SBA with our own little flavor to it. But we see that being a very viable option, not only for our program, but for our federal customers, Matt.
Great. Yeah, thanks so much. I know it's a new program and growing it, and it just sounds very promising and going to be great for not only the program but just moving forward overall. So back to you, Tracy, but we'll definitely stay on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Looks like we have a couple questions that came through our chat box. If you put any questions in the Q&A box while we were having our technical difficulties, if you would like to retype them and put them into our chat box, or if you could put them in the Q&A box that's up now, that would be wonderful. Okay, so we have a question here. Is there a cost associated with the 8A certification?
Yeah, that's probably an SBA. That's an SBA question. We probably should refrain from trying to answer that one.
Yeah, so Tracy, can I interject here, please? If these are these some of the questions that were pre-submitted?
That's in the chat now.
Oh, that's in the chat. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I don't have access to that. If we have any of our small business specialists or any of our program managers from our NASA Office of Small Business Programs. We just like to offer you an opportunity, if you could come on screen or come off of mute. We have a couple of NASA specific or small business specific questions that have been submitted. We just want to give an opportunity to answer those questions if you can. So I believe Mr. Williams may be here, and Ms. Eunice Adams, she is a small business specialist with who's at our Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio. So we have a couple of NASA questions, if you don't mind. I hate to put you on the spot, but we are just flexible today, but we want to make sure that while we have our team here, that we're able to answer the questions that have been submitted from our small business community.
Hello, this is Eunice.
Hi,
Hold
Eunice.
on 1 second. I wasn't prepared to come on.
And that's fine. We have you. We can hear
I
you.
can come on
So you want
camera.
to
Hold on
just-
a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So, just to let you know that as far as I know, there's no cost associated with the 8A program. The best thing to do is to get in touch with your local small business administration, and they will be able to walk you through the steps of participating. But as far as I know, there is no cost associated. But with joining the program, it just takes time to go through all of the records that you have, your business records and things like that, in order to sign up for the program.
Okay. Thank you, Eunice. Tracy, were there any other questions?
Sorry about that, guys. I was actually on mute. Where do we find solicitations? One of the questions.
So Tracy,
Yeah.
I can answer that. So it depends on what you're looking for, and the dollar threshold of what you're looking for as far as your solicitation. So most of the time, um, the procurement offices throughout the federal government will post their solicitations. The dollar threshold is usually is $25,000 and up. And then anything that is our simplified acquisition threshold is $250,000. So the best thing to do is to sign up on sam.gov, and then put in your associated NAICS codes. And there's a way also to there's a way for you to sign up and get notifications within your NAICS codes of when a solicitation or a source of salt or whatever is actually posted. So the best thing to do is to sign up on sam.gov to get the information regarding whatever the capabilities is of your company.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And then I see another question right now in the chat. This one of our speakers can answer this one for us. What are some strategies to get disabled applicants to self-identify?
I'm not sure what Matt thinks, but I just think that one of the things that will help folks self-identify is us having more opportunities for that community. A lot of people with disabilities, whether visible or not. And that's one, just real quick, Tracy. Matt touched on this earlier. One thing that we really encourage our customers to do is to go on a site visit with us so that they can see our constituents do their thing and do their work and see how they can work better than you and I, right? In some instances. So I think the thing that I feel compelled to do, and again, the reason why I left Coke is to figure out how I can be a more valuable asset to the federal government as far as putting requirements in the program. And I think the more requirements that we add to this program, people with disabilities will start to self-identify and say, hey, I have a disability and come see me work. And I've personally been having, my brother was on dialysis, right? And he couldn't go to work every day, right? But these nonprofit agencies, they're specifically designed to help people. So the days that my brother was able to go, he went to work, performed just like you and I would, And again, I think the whole self-identity part, I think that's just us making more work available. And the federal customer is really driving that effort for us. And again, the more we can partner, I think the more people will self-identify. So that's just kind of my 2 cents, Tracy.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And I see that you answered one of the questions in the Q&A box. Did you want to elaborate a little bit more on that one?
Yeah. Every federal agency, and Matt shared the OSBP memo. And when the memo came out in 2020, all federal agencies were asked to pledge 1.5%. NASA was one of the agencies that came out and said, okay, let's work towards that 1.5%. And I think we all know that just the revenues that NASA generates, that 1.5% can be a lot of work for people with disabilities. And we have grown with NASA. Again, I started out 7 years ago as an account manager, and NASA was one of my accounts then. The photo that Tracy shared was me at Kennedy Space Center in the month of October hosting a national NDEAM event for NASA at Kennedy Space Center. So I've been very familiar um, with the NASA program. And so being able to go from account managers to business development, still have responsibility for NASA, and now being a director. Again, I think just the growth with NASA is there. And I really think to answer the question, the 1.5 is going to be probably more in 24 and beyond. But every year we're working directly, our A board and Sheila Roach, the NASA A board, they work together very closely to determine where NASA is in regards to meeting that pledge and where NASA is going to add to that pledge. So I don't have the firm number right now for 24, Ralph. But again, just NASA commit to that 1.5% tremendously helps the Ability One program. And again, more requirements. We're working on several things with NASA, prime contractors, even. That's part of the reason why we're here, because of the relationships that we've been able to grow with NASA prime contractors as well. So everything we do, the prime contributes towards the goal or the pledge, as well as anything that we put on the Ability One procurement list will contribute to the NASA pledge. So I'm not sure what the final number is for 24 and moving forward, Ralph, but I'd be willing to bet you an ice cold Coca-Cola that year over year, NASA's going to work to increase that pledge to the program.
And to add on to that, Lawrence, NASA has been a leader in sending out some of those memos that we had referenced earlier. There's been multiple memos from senior leadership within NASA to look at all the different upcoming procurements and whether they're a fit for Ability One. So it's been a big help from NASA leadership on that front.
I'm a NASA team and everybody on this call again. Years ago, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, I was a part of the team. We delivered over the course of the year, multiple. I'm not even going to try to count them to leadership within NASA. And Mr. Delgado was a part. I'm not sure if he's still on the call, but we've done a lot of work behind the scenes with NASA leadership, and NASA leadership has been amazing, truly amazing in supporting this program. The memos that Matt shared, we're actually working with other agencies to emulate some of the things that NASA has been doing because they've been so all in and helping this community that we serve. So again, this partnership with NASA has been amazing, and we really hope that we can start partnering with more small businesses that support NASA, and again, just working better together moving forward.
Absolutely. I see a question in the Q&A box. For the OFCCP audits, is it still recommended to hold applications for 7 years? Is that something you guys can answer?
I think that might be a federal customer question.
I'm not familiar with that acronym.
All right, and let's see, looks like we have another one.
Tracy, would that be a question, Eunice? Is that a question that you might be able to answer? I apologize. My view on the Q&A is very limited, so I'm not seeing any of the questions that you're reading, Tracy.
Okay.
But Eunice, is that a question you might be able to answer?
No, I can't answer that question. I'm not sure of the audits.
Okay. Thanks.
Eunice, there's another question here. I'm not sure if you're able to answer this one, but it says, what are the mentioned certifications? What are the certifications mentioned in the presentation? Oh, I'm sorry, this is for our speakers. What are the certifications mentioned in the presentation, such as AS 9100, Rev D, and ISO 9001 certified? Is there a cost for this, and how can we obtain this?
I know for some of the certifications, their requirement is, and those requirements most times are driven by the government customer. And what we do for our nonprofits that are in the Ability One program, we offer grants and loans to help with things like that. So that's a major part of, again, when I talked about the oversight that we provide that the commercial entities just don't have, the level of oversight and the level of support that we can provide, it's night and day to your commercial providers. So again, one thing that we do is we arm our nonprofits with the funds to get that trained.
Yeah, so those are third party certifications. So I'm not sure what agency actually finalizes those, but I would assume there's probably a cost and there's
Oh,
audits.
there's a cost.
Yeah, okay. And there's audits that are done quite frequently. So yeah, that's a third party type situation.
Yeah, just like ISO, we have to for Source America to be ISO certified. They're coming next month to audit us. So it's an ongoing effort that creates standards and efficiencies throughout the organization. More importantly, to make sure that we're meeting our customers' needs. So that's why we point out those certifications, because our customers want to know the level of engagement that our nonprofits have. So we have to identify that, and we have to make sure that they have those certifications. And by providing those grants and loans, we enable them to do it.
Okay, thank you guys. It looks like Eunice is going to have to go in about a couple minutes. So, True, can you give us about maybe 2 questions from our NASA questions, NASA focused questions before Eunice has to hop off? And if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to include them in the box while we just take this quick pivot real quick.
We have very limited, I think I see really one that Eunice may be able to answer, and it's really regarding identifying SBIR, STTR opportunities and how companies may go about identifying those opportunities at NASA. So Eunice, I don't know if you're able to speak to that. I know we could probably put that office's, that program's information in that website in the chat, but did you want to speak to that at all, Eunice?
Right. So, just to make you aware that each center will have, well, not each center has their SBIR, STTR website links, and then also all of the I guess the position papers or whatever that we're asking for are on that website. And unfortunately, I don't have the whole thing. There's a whole list of websites that you can go to actually look and see information about the different programs. And there are there's also information available because the SBIR program has instituted a couple of new programs that will really help small businesses. And one of them, I believe, is called SBIR Ignite. So make sure to go on that website and review all of the information. And then if you have any further questions, you can reach out to myself or any of the other small business specialists, and they can refer you to their SBIR office or their center technician transition leads. Like I always say it the wrong way, but the technology transition leads, there's one at every center. So you can actually get in contact with them as well if you have any other questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eunice. All right, I'm gonna check to see if we have any other questions in the Q&A box. Doesn't look like we have any more, but we do have a lot of feedback for you guys. They appreciate and your support and dedication. And
This is real good. This is real good work to me. Like I'm super passionate about it. Like because like I said, I'm a shut up. But when I first started and I was able to go to one of the locations and one of the see our constituents work on a requirement, it was just I knew I was in the right place. Every day I clock in, I know I'm helping somebody no matter what I do. So this is real good work and it's a good opportunity just to help people who really want to do something out here. If we pull the requirements in, they'll do the work.
mhm.
Tracy, keep meaning to bring up, and I keep forgetting. So we're actually going to be hosting a reverse industry day in the beginning of November down in the DC area. It's going to be in person, and we'll have a virtual option too. So just if anybody's interested, I can post the registration links in the chat if you'd like. But we're going to have upwards of 50 MPA employees coming in from all across the country, talking about our really 15 top lines of business that we have. Lawrence and I were just able to scratch the very, very top surface of some of our capabilities. So we're going to have that reverse industry day in the beginning of November, and would really like to have folks attend in person and virtual.
Sounds awesome. If you could put that in the chat, that would be great. And there's also a question in here. Someone asked if you could reshare the Ability One email address so they could get in contact with PWS.
It's on the contact information slide, Tracy.
Okay.
Prime contractor. If you go back a couple more slides.
Yeah, I put it in the chat too. We have that prime contractor one, and there's also opportunity at ability1.org. So there's really two. It kind of depends whether you're talking about subcontracting or whether you're talking about kind of a full ad. So there's two. If you send it to one of those, we'll get it to the right place.
That's right.
All right, thank you. And looks like okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions at this time, but we will continue to monitor the chat box and the Q&A box.
Okay.
All right, I'll pass to Ms. Cecilia Parker.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tracy, for moderating the Q&A, and Matt and Lawrence, thank you not only for your presentation, but great information that you shared, but also thank you for sticking around for the Q&A. We look forward to sharing not only the video from today, but also the slides with today's attendees. And again, for everyone who joined the call, you will get an email with a link to today's slides and a link to the video. And we will also post this information on our website so that you can view this information on demand. So again, a virtual round of applause to our speakers and to our attendees today for hanging out with us. So now I'm just going to share a little bit of news and updates from the Office of Small Business Programs, and we can go to the next slide, please. Our next OSBP Learning Series in recognition of Native American Heritage Month, we will have, our topic is Native American Business Development, and we will have an update from NASA from our program here, and we have invited speakers from the Native American office at the Small Business Administration. So we're looking forward to that engagement, and some other trade associations for small businesses that we have been invited as well. So we invite you to register for that webinar that's taking place next month on November the 15th. And go to the next slide. And our upcoming learning series, again, this is a monthly offering on the third Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And listed on the screen are the remaining webinars for this calendar year. And we will continue on for the remainder of the fiscal year through September 24. Next slide. And our NASA OSBP mobile app has recently been updated. If you've been with us for a while and you have the mobile app downloaded on your mobile device, then you have seen the updated look and feel and user experience. So hopefully you are enjoying it. If you have not downloaded our app, we encourage you to do so either at Google Play or the Apple Store and download that device where you can, again, access OSBP, our information, as well as our team of small business specialists and other individuals at our NASA centers that support our small business programs, as well as information regarding our active contract listings and other resources that are available to our small business community. Next slide, please. We also have many publications that are available on our website. Our flagship publication for the Office of Small Business Programs is the Small Business Guide to NASA. That is a comprehensive document that includes all of the information that you need to do business with NASA, and that is available there. We also have publications that highlight our agency missions and how small businesses have supported them. And so featured on this page is our most recent publication series. It's called A Case for Small Business, where we have featured small businesses that supported the Artemis 1 mission. And you can go to that website that's listed on the page and download that publication there. Next slide. Our NASA vendor database is new and improved. We're really excited about it, and we really encourage our small business community to register in our vendor database. If you have been with us for a while, we had a previous version of our vendor database that we did have to sunset in June of this year. So if you were in that vendor database, we are no longer using it. And if you would still like to have access to NASA and receive information from NASA regarding procurement opportunities, you will need to re-register in our new vendor database. And so if you scan this QR code, it will take you to, excuse me, the website where you can follow the steps to register. And the main thing that you need to do to start this process is to make sure that you're registered in SAM, because you will need your EIN to start that. Yeah, not your EIN, your UEI, excuse me. You will need that number to start your process for the NASA vendor database, excuse me. So we encourage you to register there. We do use it agency-wide. It is an enterprise tool, and you do receive information regarding procurement opportunities at the agency. Next slide. And follow us on social media. We encourage you to engage with us on X, excuse me, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and we also engage with small business community on the agency's LinkedIn page. Next slide. And we are supporting an effort through by the Executive Office of the President of the United States, Navigating Tomorrow's Opportunities, help improve forecast of procurement opportunities. And the question is, how well do our changes under consideration for agency forecast resonate with your business needs? This administration is seeking responses to that question and is inviting your responses. So if you scan that QR code, it will take you to a website where you can provide that feedback. And so I believe the responses are being accepted through the end of the month of October. And so we encourage you to scan that QR code and submit your feedback. Next slide. And finally, again, we have our monthly OSBP learning series on the third Wednesday. We are always open to topics that are relevant and timely and useful. So if you have a topic that you're interested in hearing about, if you could please email that to us, or a suggested speaker, if you could email that to us at smallbusiness@nasa.gov, we will definitely take that into consideration. And perhaps a topic or speaker that you submitted, you might see them at an upcoming OSBP learning series webinar. And if we can go to the next slide. And to learn more about OSBP, if you could visit us at our website is www.nasa.gov/OSBP for Office of Small Business Programs. And just a quick note here, NASA, the agency, as well as our office, recently underwent a rebrand of both the agency's flagship page and our website. So you will notice a difference, look and feel of our website. And so what I'd like to do now, I believe if we have it ready, if we could just pull up our OSBP website and just kind of give you a brief preview of some of the highlights on our website so that when you visit it and you're doing your homework and how to do business with NASA and researching our page, you're kind of familiar because we had previously gone through a rebrand. So if you haven't been to our website recently, it's going to look a lot different. And so, Brianna, would you like to walk through the website or would you like for me to try? What would you like to do?
Hey, True. It doesn't matter. I can drive since I'm sharing my screen, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Take it away.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you, True. So, as Triphilia mentioned, we have our new or rebranded website aligned with the agency's rebrand as well. So, I put the link in the chat, and it's also on the slides. And a reminder, you'll get a copy of these slides as well. So, same website, nasa.gov/OSBP. So when you come on this screen, you'll see our home screen. Just be advised that these links are not clickable, but they are available if you would like to read that particular article on the website. So if you scroll down, we'll have our mission and overview. So if you would like to view our mission and overview, you can click that and read more information on that. Then we have our OSBP areas and programs that will be interest to you in the small business community. So I know in the slides we mentioned that we have our new OSBP mobile app. So everyone is encouraged, if you have not done so already, to download our OSBP mobile app, and it is available on both Android and iPhone users. So if you click that, this link will provide you with that information. And then they'll have the direct link to the Apple Store as well as to the Google Play Store for our Android users. Now, if you head back to the areas and programs of interest, then we will move on to the active contract listings. So please feel free to visit our ACLs. They are frequently updated. So if you click that, you'll be able to download our ACLs on at the tip of your fingertips. Then we'll move on to how to do business with NASA. We have a few quick 6 easy steps on how to do business with NASA, and here they are there. So if you click that, you'll have a lot of valuable information on how to get started as far as we're doing business with our agency. So I'm gonna go back to the home screen. Then we have our NASA Mr. Protege program. So if you would like more information about our Mr. Protege program, that is available to you there. Then moving down to our calendar of events. So we have on this calendar of events, we input both of our learning series that we offer once a month. We have our outreach events that we offer quarterly, as well as our center events. So if you are near a NASA center or the surrounding areas and you would like to participate in any of the in-person or virtual center events, they will be featured on this calendar. So we highly encourage you to check this very frequently and often. Then we will move on to our OSBP leadership team. So as everyone probably is aware, our associate administrator is Mr. Glenn Delgado, and our deputy associate administrator is Mr. Robert Medina, as well as we have some of our headquarters staff and their email and their bios. Also, one thing I did want to mention too at the top of the screen, as you can see, if you would also like to download a list of our NASA Small Business Technical Advisors, as well as a full list of our NASA Small Business Programs contact list that includes our HQ personnel as well as our centers, you can download it here at your desktop as well. Also, if you would like to find the contact information of a particular center, for example, Ames Research Center, you click that. My apologies, at the time we are kind of going through some as Triphilia mentioned, some revamps and developments with our center pages. So some of our center pages might be down for the time being, but that is temporary. We are actively working to make sure that is updated. But if you like, as I mentioned, if you would like to contact any of our centers, I recommend that you download this NASA Small Business Program contact list. On this contact list, it has their headshot, their name, their email address, and their phone number if you would like to contact them if they are in a center near you. So I'm going to go back to the main page. And then next up, we have our NASA vendor database. So as Trafilia mentioned, we have a new NASA vendor database. Our previous database has been disbanded, and that is no longer active. So if you are registered in our previous NASA vendor database, yes, you must re-register in the new database. So again, we highly encourage that if you have a desire to work with our agency, we highly recommend that you register in our NASA vendor database. So if you would like more information about that, then you will go to this page on the website and you will click there, which will take you directly to our NASA vendor database site, and it provides you with very detailed instructions on how to register your business. All right, so I'm going to go back to the main page and I will go to the small business resource links. So this site has so many valuable resources, that we feel that are valuable to the small business community. So I'm not going to go through every link by link, but if you go here, you'll have everything. The partnerships, informational partnerships office, SBIR, SBTTR, Hub Zone, all information, SBA. We have a lot of valuable links that we find that are extremely helpful, Sam, for you. So if you go over to the small business resource links, then you will have all of these helpful links that should be able to provide you with a lot of valuable information. All right, so I'm going to go back to the main page, and then we have our awards. At the NASA Office of Small Business Programs, we pride ourselves on our awards program, our Admin Cup, our SBIA program, which is Small Business Industry Awards Program, and our SBAA program, which stands for Small Business Advocate Awards Program. So if you head here, you will see our previous award winners from the FY22 cycle. Currently, we are in the FY23 cycle, and we're looking to announce our award winners sometime in March 2024, March or April, so be on the lookout for that. But if you would like to see our previous award winners from our previous cycles, feel free to head to this link and it will take you to those award winners. And also, Trafilia mentioned about our OSBP publications, which are very, very good resources to review. So small business like yourself have contributed to many of NASA's most premier missions. So if you head to our publications, we have really nice write-ups about those companies that have contributed to those missions throughout the years. We also have our small business guide to NASA that I feel like is extremely helpful, especially if you are interested in working with our agency, as well as previous publications from our small business industry awards. So I'm going to head to the back of the main screen. I'm going to go down again. NASA has has 10, NASA centers. So if you are interested in learning more about our centers or connecting with our small business specialist that is at one of our centers, we highly encourage you to visit this website, and you'll have the information on our centers here at the top. Again, as I mentioned on the previous screen, that we have our small business program list, so you can download this list and has all our centers on one page. However, we also have them laid out in alphabetical order by our centers from Armstrong all the way down to Stennis. So I'm going to head back to the main page. And we also have OSBP news. We have a lot of exciting information that is going on, not in our organization, but we also like to highlight information that we feel is valuable to you as a small business community that's going on in the agency. So we keep this section up to date very, very frequently. So we highly encourage, if you would like to know, what's exciting going on in the agency or what's exciting going on in OSBP or even in the small business community, feel free to head over here. And as I mentioned, we definitely pride ourselves on keeping this the most up to date. As well as down below, we have additional latest news, more so agency wide. And at this time, that is pretty much everything. Oh, before we leave, I would like to highlight the top module. So at the top, we have our OSBP homepage, is what I just went through now with the training and demo. We also have our learning series. So our upcoming learning series, if you click where it says webinars, you'll be able to see our upcoming learning series here. So as Truphilia mentioned, that our next learning series is Native Americans Business Development Programs. And if you click here, this should take you to the registration link. So please register for our next learning series for next month. Seating is limited, so please go ahead and register to secure your spot. Also, we also have our learning series for the next few months, actually for the next year and plus. So if you go down, you'll be able to see all of our dates for our learning series and the topics that we are going to offer. Also, this learning series, it has been recorded. So as we mentioned, all the attendees who register on Eventbrite will receive a copy of today's presentation as well as the recording. So we also will send out an email via Eventbrite. So whatever email you use to register on Eventbrite, you will receive an email via that email address indicating when today's recording has been uploaded to our website. So whenever it's uploaded, then you'll head over where it says learning series and click archive learning series, and it will be under here. So under here, under this particular learning series, which is this is our previous one, but it will have another section for today's, and it'll provide you with the link to view the presentation as well as the link to download the presentation. And then next up, we have our outreach events. So similar to our learning series, if you click outreach events, we'll have our list of our upcoming outreach events. Our next outreach event that we will have will be in January 25th, 2024. So stay tuned for more information about that. We also will have our previous outreach events. So any outreach events that we had in the past, if you attended our outreach event, then you can go ahead and head over there. And if you would like a refresher on the content that was provided, both of the recording as well as the presentation are both available there. But if you was not able to attend, we encourage you to join. We pride ourselves on our outreach events being extremely helpful, especially from the feedback that we have been provided. So definitely we encourage you to visit if you have not visited, or also revisit as well. And then also at the top section, we have our doing business with NASA. And here we have, as I mentioned, before, our other 6 quick steps on to help you get started with doing business with our agency. So I definitely highly encourage, if you are passionate about doing business with us, then, to head over to this page and go through the 6 steps in order to get you started. And then I can't stress this enough, but our NASA vendor database is here. So we also have this at the top. Again, register, register, register. I promise you it will be your worthwhile. And then if you go to the more section, we have our highlights. So the highlight section are, things that are happening in our agency, within OSBP that we feel is exciting, that we would like for you to know about. And also just highlights that are happening in the small business community that we feel like are beneficial for you and your business. So that pretty much wraps up the OSBP website. Again, this is fairly new, and we thank you for your patience and understanding as we fully develop the website. The website is fully functioning, but as we, clean up a few of the modules, we thank you for your patience and understanding as we get it into the place that we would like for it to be. So at this time, I'm going to turn the floor back over to Mr. Flea Parker to close us out for today. True.
Okay, thank you, Brianna, for that quick overview of quick but thorough overview of our rebranded website. So again, to our attendees, thank you for joining us today. You will receive a link to today's video recording, as well as a link to download today's slides, and they will be available to download from our website as well. And again, to our guest speakers, thank you for your time and just the wealth of information that you shared, and thank you for your partnership with our agency. We look forward to continuing in that collaboration. And again, thank you to Tracy for moderating the Q&A and just kind of coordinating this effort. Hopefully we will see our attendees next month for our next month's topic and beyond. And on the screen is my information. So if you have any questions of me or would like to reach out to me directly, please feel free to do so. And thank you and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care. Bye.